Hello, everyone. A warm welcome to this session. And first of all, at GMATWhiz, we always try to bring you some inspirational stories of students who have not given up on their dreams and who have just pushed themselves really hard till the point they achieve their goals. And I know many of you have gotten so much inspiration for the stories that we have done in the past. And today we have gotten you another gem of a story for a student who had to actually fight her way out. Like a lot of people get to the a dream score of 730, 740, 750 on GMAT just because of intellect. But there are people who have to fight their way out. I'm not saying they're not intellectual, but they still have to go through the grind. They have to push themselves hard. And the story is a story of that kind of perseverance. Like I remember Ankita was stuck on the score of 585 for almost 4 months. Like she prepared 3 months first properly and got to a 585, then prepared for another 4 months and was stuck at a like score of 585. And from there, in another 3.5 months, she improved her score to 685 by 100 points. And this journey was also not like this simple. Like there were a lot of ups and downs. Like we worked really hard to improve one side of the test, worked really hard on verbal, improved the verbal score from 78 to 84, which is like a great improvement, almost like a 37 percentile to 90th percentile kind of a jump happened. But still, she was not able to achieve the score because of DI. And then she fought like a brave warrior and then got her dream score 685, which is equivalent to 737.40 on the GMAT Classic, by improving her DI as well, which was the Achilles heel towards the end, like last leg of the prep. So be ready for an amazing, inspiring success story interview of Ankita. And without any further ado, I would invite Ankita on the stage. So, Ankita, how did it feel when you were in the center and you had that screen showing 685 in front of you? How was the feeling?
So, hello, sir. First of all, thank you for the wonderful introduction. And the first feeling which I had while when I first saw the score was I was relieved because we were really working hard for the round two applications, and now the feeling was at least the score wouldn't be the speed breaker in the process.
Correct, correct, correct. I remember like so just to for the background of students who are watching this, Ankita worked with GMAT for both her GMAT prep as well as her applications. And the day she was taking the GMAT last attempt, then when she got a 685, she had her MIT application due on that same day, and then the next day another
Yes.
application was and we all had already applied to three more schools before that, so that was still going on, and in between this happened. And honestly, relief is the best word, to be honest. Like this, we knew this is gonna work. I knew that this is gonna happen. When it will happen was a bigger question than anything else, I guess. So
Yes,
yeah,
definitely.
really happy for you being able to churn out that score eventually. And again, we could have done better. Like your highest verbal was 84 in the previous attempt, but still, like
Yes.
obviously, like hunger to do better will always be there. But great score overall. So let's start with your introduction and your GMAT journey. Let's run the users through what you did in the first leg of the prep. Yeah.
Okay, so in actually August 2023, I started to take I started to focus on my MBA journey. So I thought of taking GMAT. Then I joined a program, and with quant I was pretty much comfortable because I'm from engineering background. I'm pretty much comfortable, but the verbal was a completely different story. In the starting, I was very alienated with the verbal course like CR, SC, sentence correction was also there, and RC. And the course which I joined was also not very structured. So, though I prepared for 2 to 3 months, but still I was not able to score a very good marks. And because I had a very bad habit of rushing through the things, and I was actually because right now I won't be say I am a anxious test taker, but I was an anxious test taker, and I keep rushing through the things. So for the ISB round two deadlines, I had only 2 to 3 months left. So I created an unnecessary pressure in my mind to just complete the course in 2 to 3 months. and appear for GMAT and apply for ISB. So I think because of that also I have not is able to score a good score. It
Mhm.
was 640 in the previous classic version, and in my
Yeah.
mind, it was like just anyhow, score of 700, so that I will be able to apply to ISB. But 640 was a very very disappointing score.
Correct. And those of our users who are not used to the old scoring mechanism, 640 is equivalent to a 585 on the GMAT Focus Edition,
Yes,
basically. So
yes.
this was last year when in 2023 when Ankita was looking at ISB. So what happened after that? Like obviously, like that was not the right score for ISB. So what did you do after that?
Yes. So after that, I took a break of 2 to 3 months because
Mhm.
at my workplace also I had a departmental transfer. So to deal with it, to get through the new responsibilities, took a 2 to 3 months break from my preparation, and after that also I just read the same course, but this time without the pressure. But still I was not able to score good marks in the mocks. In my mocks the score was pretty much the same: 585, 595, 575. So that time I discovered that my approach was not very good. It was totally flawed, I think. So then I started
Okay.
discovering the courses.
Why did you feel that way? Like why did you feel that way that your approach was flawed like after 4 months? Okay. And just
Because
one small
this
thing, Ankita, like just
Yes.
small thing, one just small thing interrupting you in between. But to all
Okay,
the
okay.
users here who are watching us, feel free to ask any questions. Again, I am a moderator here. I'm only gonna ask the questions till the time you are not gonna ask the questions, and I'm gonna just pose the questions to Ankita at the right point. Again, we have also designed a very short structure. It's not like we are going randomly. So first of all,
Yes,
like this is the scorecard, how it looks. And the structure we have kept is like Ankita has already talked about the first part of our prep, and we'll
yes.
talk about the 585 to 645 journey, which was the next improvement that she did in verbal, amazing improvement that led to the score. Then we'll talk about the final leg, 645 to 685, and some timing strategies and also some additional tips from Ankita. So yeah, over to you, Ankita. You were also talking about the improvement in the approach. Yeah, please go ahead.
So I felt that my approach was wrong and it was unstructured, because even after preparing without the pressure, and even after giving so much of time, 3 to 4 months, I think in April I started again preparing again, and from in June, July, my score was same in mocks: 575, 585, 595. Then I felt something is not wrong, something is not right. And then I went through a hell lot of videos at GMAT Club to discover the approach. So then I attended a webinar of Sunita ma'am to approach verbal. That webinar, I found her approach is so solid and so methodological that I was just blown with the approach she told. So I joined the course at GMATWhiz, and after that, all the story that you know, how we improved gradually. That too gradually.
Yes. It was honestly like it seems like like to people who see that okay, 100 point happened, it just seems like it happened, but a lot of effort has gone into it. So we'll go deeper into every single aspect of it, basically. So let me just help people visualize this better with this slide. So overall, the
Yes.
journey of Ankita was broken down like this. Like started from a 585 equivalent on GMAT Focus, went to 645, and this improvement happened majorly because of the verbal jump from 78 to 84. So her last score equivalent on GMAT Focus was 78, and then her next score was at 84 in the next attempt, 645 attempt. And then she finally pushed herself to get to a 96 percentile, 685, because of the DI score improving from 77 to
Yeah.
81. And at a broad level, as Ankita was saying, so let's focus on the first leg of the journey, which is about upskilling the verbal, basically. So as Ankita was saying, three main things that happened. So let's get into that, Ankita. I guess uh without let me just run through the verbal score improvement part. So let's talk about your study plan for verbal. So in the second leg of your prep, how did you prepare? Like I have a question from Satavisha. I'm gonna obviously take that up as well. But this question is a first question I want to start with, because before I get to how often you took mocks, let's understand what was your study plan for verbal. Because going from a 37th percentile in verbal to 90th percentile in verbal is no easy thing to do in a period of 2 3 months. So, how did you plan your studies? What was this change that happened? Let's run the users through it.
Okay, sir. So I'll talk in two parts. First is about the study plan, then second is about the approach. For the study plan, since I'm a working professional, working 6 days a week, so in a week I had only 15 to 16 hours a week, 15 to
Hmm.
16 hours in a week to prepare. So
Hmm.
it is very less
Okay,
time.
correct.
So for that GMATWhiz study plan, it came very handy. I just
Hmm.
followed it judiciously.
Hmm.
So for the first 3 weeks, I prepared CR. For next 2 weeks, I dedicated to RC. Then next 3 week
Hmm.
dedicated practice. Then after
Okay.
that, I got a solid grasp of the verbal. Then I
Hmm.
took a GMAT attempt, a score 645. I was
Hmm.
very happy with my verbal score, that V84. But what came to shock was DI, that we will talk later on.
Hmm. Okay.
So this is the first part of the study plan. Study plan, it was very clear. I didn't delve much into it. I just followed the study plan given by
Hmm.
GMATWhiz.
Hmm.
Yes,
So, so just
and
summarizing it, exactly, like you spend about 3 weeks on critical reasoning, two on
yes,
reading comprehension, and 3 weeks on practicing. But
3 weeks on
why this sequence? I know you have in a way said that I followed the GMAT with study plan, but why this particular order and why this much time? Like, can just share your thoughts on this? Yeah.
Sir, order is actually the logic, the rationale behind following this order. It was told to me by Sunita ma'am, because the critical reasoning, when we hold the grasp of critical reasoning, it makes reading comprehension very easy
Okay.
to
Hmm.
read the passage, to comprehend, to break the passage, to analyze what is the conclusion, what is the author's viewpoint, using the keywords. Therefore, I think doing CR before RC is a very
Hmm.
good approach, which a ma'am told me. And
Hmm.
in CR, can we move ahead to CR?
Let's talk about CR. So basically, like the reason you do it CR before RC is obviously like as you said, like RC is basically a bigger CR question. Like there are like
Yes,
bigger four passages, paragraphs that are there.
definitely.
Okay, so let's
Yes.
focus on critical reasoning. What is that you did for critical reasoning? What's the change in the thought process? Again, you had done 7 months of prep before coming to
Hmm.
GMAT, just for people who just joined us. So what was different from then, and what different happened in the next 2 3 months that your score changed so much?
Okay. Okay, so sir, previously when I was preparing, my approach was not structured. I was just randomly practicing the questions. So
Mhm.
when I joined the Sunita ma'am classes, she taught me the process. Then I found out that I really knew nothing about the CR. So I need to unlearn the randomly solving the questions and the
Mhm.
four-step process which she taught. It
Mhm.
then after that, after you went through the process, learn the process, imbibe it, it feels like solving quant questions. It no more feels like
Okay.
solving verbal questions.
Okay,
Just
that's
follow the
interesting.
four-step process. I still
Mhm.
remember the process very
Okay.
thoroughly. It is about the deconstructing the stimulus,
Mhm.
and second is setting the scope, which is very unique. Only she taught. Only she. I have never heard of anyone else teaching it. And third is about pre-thinking. Four is elimination, that too on solid groundings, not randomly eliminating things.
Okay.
So these are the four steps.
Okay.
So it helped a lot. These four steps.
So that the just thing that you said, like setting the scope, as you said that this is not something
Yes.
you'd heard anywhere else. Like, what is the setting the scope? Can you give an example to our users, students who are preparing, just to help them understand better what the setting the scope actually means?
Yes, actually, especially in the assumption family question, setting the scope is very important. When we read a premise, when we read the conclusion, then in conclusions, he taught that read that, for example, something strengthen in a strengthen question. what are the
Mhm.
which of these statement, which of the following statement will strengthen the conclusion. So in this conclusion, we need to ask that what is the something, what, how, and why. What
Mhm.
the below statements will, sorry, what sorry, I'm sorry, really, what,
That's okay. That's
how,
okay.
and why the below statements will strengthen or will weaken the conclusion. So finding the right conclusion and setting the scope is very important for elimination. I
Okay,
think
got it. Got it.
50% of the work is done,
So what you're
and the
saying is
pre-thinking, the
basically
work is
like
almost
setting the scope
80% done.
is. So what you're saying is that
Yeah.
setting the scope is basically about putting limits around what is within the argument's like objective or core area of focus. Basically, like what is
Yes.
that is impacting the conclusion, and there could be like some additional pieces of information which are mentioned in the argument, but they don't
Yes.
impact the conclusion as much as
Yeah,
it
because
looks like.
many a times,
Basically,
yeah, because many a times in the options there are the statements are given with the similar information or repetition of premise or any other
hmm,
additional information, but it is not strengthening, weakening the question. So
okay,
in that
got it.
case, the setting the scope is very important.
Got it. Got it. Got it. So basically, to summarize again, like just for the users, like, because again, visual memory is better. So the main difference that happened in your approach was earlier there was no structured problem solving that you were doing. It was basically reading the question and solving it. There was no proper process in CR that you had, and then you had to they learned a new process, which was deconstructing the stimulus, typing the scope, pre-thinking, and then eliminating on solid grounds. Now, one follow-up question again. I still like don't see questions from the users.
Yes.
Possibly we are already covering so much so well that people are actually getting answers right away on this. So I'll just ask a follow-up question on this. As a student, when you do these 4 steps, like most of these steps, like I'm just wanna go back to the slide again. Like all the first 3 steps are still related to the question itself, right? Elimination on solid grounds, that is the last step, which is only related to the choices. So when you do this, do you really have the time on GMAT? Like you have hardly 1.8 minutes per question. Do you really have the time on GMAT to do so many things on a CR question in that time?
Okay, sir. When we follow the first 3 steps judiciously, then eliminations on the basis of solid grounding, it hardly takes 20 to 30 seconds. Because what she
Okay.
taught me is to give at least 1 minute to read to deconstruct the question stimulus.
Okay.
And it just take 20 seconds to set up the scope, 20 seconds for the
Mhm,
pre-thinking, and just
mhm.
10 to 20 seconds. So within 2 minutes, I was able to solve the CR question with much more confidence.
Correct. So basically, what you're saying is that it's just aligning the timeline rather than spending more time on the options and doing back and forth. You do more structured, invest heavy in the beginning, and
Yes,
get the answers right.
actually, it is time saving approach.
Correct. 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 Time
Right now,
saving
it
and
may be
also energy
sounding like
saving.
they're doing so much of steps. It is so time consuming, but it is actually a time saving approach.
Correct. I keep
Because
telling the
earlier
students
what
all
I
the
was
same.
doing was reading the questions stem, reading question stimulus, and then reading the options, and then I was finding, oh my god, I was confused between these two options. Again, I was rereading the stimulus, and then it was
Mhm.
very time consuming, around 3 to 3.5 minutes per question. It was very time consuming, and this approach is very time consuming process approach.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And just a disclaimer to
Sorry, time
everyone,
saving approach.
whosoever.
Sorry.
So anyone who wants to kind of learn the approach that Ankita was talking about, please keep in mind it's not magic. We are not Harry Potter. Ankita ma'am is no wizard in terms of like making the time change in one go. It takes time to learn this and apply this and get it done in 2 minutes. So Ankita also spent 3 weeks on CR. It was not like she used this approach and one day the result is coming. Okay, you initially have to be open to spend a slightly longer period of time, maybe 3 minutes also per question, if you want to really do this 4 steps properly. But if you do this 4 steps properly, systematically for let's say 50, 60 questions, the time will automatically start reducing because you will see the efficiency kick in when your brain start like subconscious mind starts to take over this process and follow this always, basically. So that's something which is very, very critical for all of you to understand. Okay. So Ankita, let's talk about RC now. Like, okay, we talked about CR, did some great, great improvement, and that's something which is even visible in your scorecard. I'll just show the verbal scorecard to all the users. Like, this is from Ankita's highest attempt, which was verbal 84, which was before the 685 attempt that she had. This time she scored a 83, 1 point less, but still this, no, sorry, this is actually the latest scorecard. This is the 83 one. 84 one is another one where she did same four mistakes only, but the mistakes happens towards the end, not in the beginning.
Not in the
But you can see it's very consistent. Like there's a big streak in the center where she was like flawless, almost flawless, like in the test. So yeah, let's talk about RC, because I know in the center almost all the questions are RC questions. So how did you improve your RC score?
yes. Sir, RC actually, what previously I was doing was I was only focusing on the first para and the last para and rushing through the mid all the other passages. So this time, what she told me is to read effectively. The effective reading is the only thing which can help in RC. For example, to read line by line, to break the lines if the sentence is very long, to break it and read, and to better understand on the basis of keywords, because
Hmm.
keywords, it helps in analyzing the author's viewpoint, which is very
Hmm.
important, especially in the
Correct.
inference questions of RC.
And keywords like however, moreover, like these like kind of keywords, right? You're
Yes,
talking about.
clearly, yeah, all these keywords.
Yes, yes. And again, if any one of you wants to know about this keywords or all, we have some videos in our free trial also where we have covered this. So there's a link I've given in the chat. You guys can check it out, or just go to GMATWhiz website. You can find some great free videos also on this. And yeah, like for more, obviously you can always subscribe to our course and learn more from there. But this keyword approach and breaking down the passages is what made the difference, basically, right, in your RC
Yes.
thought process.
This time,
Okay.
actually, I did no
So,
mistakes in RC.
how did it impact? How did it help?
Actually, I always take what ma'am has taught me was I always take more time in reading the passage. I always allocate I have 7 minutes to solve the passage. So I will allocate 4 to 4.5 minutes to read the passage. And after that, if you if you have the better understanding of the passage, then it will just take 30 to 40 seconds to solve each questions, not more than that.
Okay.
uh, Only the application questions, it will take time, 1 minute,
Mhm.
1.5 minutes also sometime. But the understanding the passage, giving more time to understanding the passage is the key to RC.
No, very, very valid point. In fact, that's something which is very similar to the thought process in CR. So, what we always recommend students, and this is for every one of you who's watching this, that there is no shortcut in verbal. Like, you cannot, there's no way you can not understand the argument or the passage and solve the question, because the answer is not in the options. Answer is supposed to be picked from the options. It's there in the passage, is there in the argument.
Passage.
So if you don't understand the passage or the argument, there's no way you can mark the right answer with confidence. Then you'll be stuck with the last two choices, and that's what many people don't realize. They end up like, and I'm pretty confident, Ankita, like just to get an idea, how many questions did you solve in your first 7 months when you were stuck at a 585? Like, do you have any count of the number of questions that you solved for verbal in that town? Like, just an approximate idea will also do.
So I solved around more than 1,000 questions
More than 1,000 questions, right? And that's something
in
which
verbal.
almost every student
Just
does.
randomly
1,000.
solving questions without any idea about the approach, the process, and it was not
And the
helping.
worst part is that at the end of the period also, like after thousand questions also, you don't really understand why are you struggling. You don't get an
Yes.
understanding of, okay, I have put in so much effort. You start doubting yourself, you start blaming yourself for something which is possibly you have not been even doing right in the first go. So that's what happens. And in the last 2 3 months that you prepared for Gita, like when you got the 685, how many verbal questions did you solve then?
Sir, frankly speaking, in my last attempt, I haven't solved even single question because we were preparing for the round two applications. Only thing I was going through was my error log. Every day I had only
Okay.
around
No,
1 and
no, no.
1.5
I
years.
understand for 685 attempt. I understand that
The
685
685
attempt you did not
attempt,
solve many.
I really
You did
did
not solve
a
many verbal. Uh,
good job, but around I think in the V84 jump, just
mhm.
solved around 150 to 200 questions, not more than that. Not more than that.
Now, imagine that, and that's what I was talking about. When
And
your
in my
score improved
last
from
attempt, I
78 to
haven't
84.
solved even a single question. Some people might feel it's a big myth or a big claim, but seriously, because I didn't have the time, because I was working
Hmm.
full time on my job, and we were preparing for the round two applications also.
Correct.
I really didn't have the time to solve the questions. Only thing I was doing was analyzing my error logs and preparing for DI. And for
Hats
verbal and
off.
quant,
Hats
I
off.
didn't had the time. So I just analyzed the error log.
But hats off, seriously, and that's the beauty of you actually using the right logical methods. See, in the
Yes.
first leg of your prep, you did 1,000 plus questions, and your score was not great. With just 200 additional questions, you were able to improve from 78 to 84. So all the people who ask how many questions should you be solving, basically, you're asking the wrong question. The right question is how you should be solving the question. That is something which is much more
Exactly.
critical to actually get the good score. So I'll just take up a question from Satavisha. This is a related question. She's saying, is there any effective method of taking notes? I have the question on the screen. I think you can also see it, basically. So she's asking about how to take notes when you're reading RCs. How much time should you be spending? So what's your take on it, Ankita?
So I do not follow the strategy of taking notes,
Mhm.
though in many videos I saw the people suggesting that take notes. But with ma'am, I work that she told me that to how to just I just developed a practice of rephrasing the paragraph on the basis of my understanding and just made a mind map. I didn't write anything because it is very time consuming, so I didn't
Mhm.
made the notes. I just developed a mind map based on my understanding and slow reading, so it
Mhm.
became very handy. I didn't take any notes.
So basically, even if you are supposed to take notes, Satavisha, don't take notes of what is written in the passage. Like there's no point,
Just
there's no
prepare
benefit of
a
doing that.
mind
You're
map.
just trying to basically, yeah. So just I think mental map of mind map, as Ankita is saying, that mind map of how what is each paragraph doing. The intent of the paragraph is something that you need to create as a mind map. Now that you can do in your mind, that you can do on a paper, but it should be just that. It should not be note taking, basically. Okay, I have a one more follow-up
Yes.
question from Satavisha.
Okay.
Not so I'm just taking it up as well. So what are the best resources for practicing verbal and DI questions? He asked.
What are the best resources? Actually, the best resources is official questions. There are no other best resources other than the official questions. So I what I did was I practiced through GMATWhiz questions, and in GMATWhiz portal, the official questions were solved in the way the process the Sunita ma'am taught me. So in the official questions also, I solved the question using that process, and then I went through the solutions and saw what are my mistakes, whether I am following the right approach or not, and this is how I developed the grasp of CR.
And how
Similarly
did you
for
find the
us,
GMAT Viz? How did you find the GMAT Viz questions? Like you would have seen GMAT Viz questions also on GMAT
it is very
Viz
similar
website.
to the official questions. It is very similar to the official questions,
Good,
and I
good.
think it is somewhat harder than GMAT questions, official questions.
Yes. Yes, that's something we have done, especially for RC. I would say yes. CR, we have tried to keep it at a similar level. RC, yeah, in a way, when we were designing the course, I and ma'am, we had this intentional plan of making it slightly more difficult to overtrain students in a way. We felt that if you can possibly do the GMAT with RC questions, official questions would be a cakewalk. That's something which is by design. And yeah, it definitely helps. So just summarizing what Ankita said for RC, just for everyone to kind of register better. So one main change that happened initially was she stopped focusing solely on first and last para. So the resource that she was using before coming to GMATWhiz advocated looking at the first para and the last para first, understanding through that, and then solving the questions basis on that. She stopped focusing on that approach, and then she actually learned to focus on the entire passage rather than the first and last para. And understanding the author's intent was very, very critical. Like she focused on identifying the idea. She was saying that make sure that you make mental map of what the passage is talking about. Okay, so get that idea clear, and that's what will help you improve the score. So yeah, so let's talk about the last leg, Ankita, like the EI. How did you conquer
So
DI? Like the thing which
uh,
was giving you difficult.
one thing I want to add in RC actually, that when she asked now what is the
Sure,
notes
sure.
taking strategy, even if she wants to take the notes now, even if you want to take the notes, do not write the details in that notes. Just write the function of that paragraph in your notes in a one line,
Hmm.
nothing
Correct,
else.
correct. So same thing that you're saying like a mind map basically. Instead of
Yes.
keeping it in your mind, you can just write it down in one line. Good,
Yeah.
fair point. Great. So yeah, so let's talk about DI now. Like how did you end up mastering the beast, which is actually creating trouble for so many people? Yeah.
DI was the bottleneck. Actually, after getting 645, the DI was a very much setback, DI 77. And then I searched the strategies on GMAT Club for DI, and everyone kept on saying that improve your verbal skills, improve your quant skills, and DI will be taken care of. But this from this I was even more disappointed, because I am pretty decent at quant skills, and I improved my verbal skills also. Still, I scored poor in a very less satisfactory mark in DI. So it was very much demotivating. And since the round two application deadline for ISB was approaching, so I thought to apply at ISB with this code. And I just gave up on my GMAT. But then Sunita ma'am, she introduced me to Piyush sir, and this was the turning point in my GI journey. And
I still remember that day. Like I still remember, ma'am messaged me. She said, "Piyush, you remember Ankita? She has improved her verbal from a 78 to 84, and she has put in a lot of effort. Like there are a lot of people who improve the scores, but I have seen her follow each and every advice. She is very diligent. She has put in her hard work in it. The only sad part is that her DI was a 77. Can you please help her out with DI?" And I still remember that day, and I was like, when I saw that 78 to 84, I was like, that's a great, great improvement. I would definitely love to see what's happening in DI. And I remember that that day you shared the scorecard with me, like a DI 77 attempt. This is how it looked like. And the moment I saw this, I knew exactly what was going wrong. Like that one thing which a lot of people are missing in DI is they don't even understand exactly how the DI section works. And that's where people go wrong. Like they don't understand that GMAT is not testing you on 20 questions. So it's something which is very, very critical for all of you to understand. And that's what we discussed. So yeah, Ankita, over to you. So what happened after that? Like, sorry, I just interrupted. It's just pure raw emotion which came out. Yeah.
so, DI, you taught me the most important thing in DI. You taught me was the test taking strategy, the how to only focus on first 15 questions, because it holds much more value than the last questions. So just focus on first 15 questions, 3 minutes per question, focus on 15 questions, and you are done with the DI. It was a really game changing strategy for me. This time I focused only on the first 15 questions, and this only changed the this only made the huge difference. And apart from this, the the question specific strategy which you told me, for DS, for graph, for tables. Uh, can we talk about one by one through these
Yeah. You
strategies?
can take an example. Yeah, definitely.
Uh,
Please go ahead.
for example, in DS question, that how actually DS is the most easy part of the DI.
Hmm.
According to me, I think it is the most easy part of the DI. So we can save a lot of time in DS if we follow a structured approach.
Hmm.
How you told me, after reading the question stems, take a 10-minute pause and think what is the additional information do you require to solve the question. Then read the both the statements. It made a huge difference because it reduced the errors and the time also, time taking to solve the
That 10
questions.
second
Yes.
pause basically to pre-analyze, like it's kind of pre-thinking where you
Yes.
don't fixate on the information that you think of, but at least have some idea about what kind of information can help you, basically.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Any idea, any tips for graphs and tables or any other
Uh,
type? Yeah.
Yes, yes. For graphs and tables, the most important thing that you told me was, uh, if before reading the question stem, read the graph. The what is given in x-axis, what is the in y-axis, what is the graph is about, because it helps in better understanding the question stem and also extracting the important information from the lengthy question stem. Because in graph and table, sometimes the question stems are very lengthy. To extract the important, the required information is much more difficult in that questions, lengthy questions. So to read the graph and table first, it is very important, and it also reduces the error.
Yes. And at the same time, it's very important to identify where you're weak and work more on those areas. So that's something which is also very
Yes.
critical because if you're just randomly doing practicing without realizing, okay, this is my strong area, this is my weak area, and not working more on your weak area, that's when the problem happens. And in fact, again, just possibly having a guide on your side. In Ankita's case, it was us. In your case, it could be someone else. But in case you need some help from us on the GMAT preparation part, feel free to reach out to us. There's a link that I have shared in the chat. Like in case you want to understand how GMATWhiz team can help you improve your GMAT score. We have helped like so many students. You can just check out the GMAT Club YouTube channel itself. There are so many interviews that we have done of our students. We can also help you out. But make sure that you focus on your weak areas. You understand where you're going wrong because if you don't understand where you're going wrong, you will not get the right score. So I just see a text in the chat from Aryan, and he has a question that possibly I'm going to take up myself, Ankita, for now, because I see a lot of things which are similar to a lot of students who actually feel this is the root cause of the problem, but actually the root cause is something else. So Aryan is saying that I gave GMAT Focus and scored 605. And in verbal, he got 8 correct out of the first 10. Then he got stuck with a passage where he lost all the time and had to guess the last 5 to 6 questions. So Aryan, again, I'm not saying you're focusing on this particular part, but if you're thinking that it was the last 5 to 6 questions that pulled your score down, let me tell you that was not the thing. Feel free to reach out to me. I can show you scorecards of students who have gotten the last 6 questions wrong in verbal and still scored a 86 on verbal. 86 I'm talking about, which is a 98th percentile. 98 percentile. That higher score with last 5 6 questions wrong. So it's not the last 5 6 questions which have pulled your score down. It's what happened before that. So 8 out of first 10 correct is also not the best thing. Like if you got 10 out of 10 correct and that 5 para passage that you had, even if you lose all the time, but if you get those right, if you get those questions right, you invest time on them and you get those right, you could have been sitting on an 86 also. Again, I know these are mistakes that people make. I was also a student at one point of time. I have also made that mistake. Ankita has also made that mistake, and that's why she was at a 78 at one point of time. And improving on that, she has understood the importance of investing time into the passage, investing time into the questions, and that has helped her score 84 in verbal. And last attempt she did not practice anything and still got a 83, which is an amazing score for someone who got to a 78 only, even despite studying for 7 months. So it's not a small feat overall, and I can associate with it very closely because I have been very close to her journey. At least in the DI leg of things, I have been very close, and we have worked so very closely on the applications also. So I can relate to that. So make sure that you understand the GMAT the right way. That's something which is very important. Okay. So Ankita, let's talk about timing strategy. Like, what are your tips for students? How to go about timing the test, or not just timing? Let's say more critically, last minute tips for the GMAT. What would you recommend? the student should be doing with respect to timing, with respect to the other things that they need to keep in mind on the last day of the GMAT or last week of the GMAT? What would you recommend?
Okay, so the firstly, I would like to emphasize the importance of error logs in the preparation, because throughout the preparation, it is much more important to analyze our mistakes, to understand our weak areas and prioritize it, rather than just randomly solving any questions and any amount of questions. So error log is very important. And second is, I would like to tell that just as we develop our quant and verbal strategies, it is equally important to develop the correct mindset
Hmm.
to approach the exam. Because I still remember on the last day, one day before the exam, how Piyush sir counseled me over the phone call for 15 to 20 minutes, and he just helped me overcome my self doubt. And the strategies like focusing on one question at a time,
Hmm.
and focus strategies to deal with the exam time anxiety, that to take a break and have a deep breath and again restart. These are the very important strategies. And not only making this a strategy, also simulate this strategy in your mock tests to get a good hold of it. And third is, I would like to tell the treat GMAT, which you told me. The treat GMAT just like any other exam. Your GMAT score is not going to decide your worth. And this is the single most important strategy which made a huge difference in my journey.
No, that's
It
true. It's
helps
very,
in
very, very
releasing the
important.
pressure very much.
Yeah, because what happens is that a student, when you're studying so engrossed into this test and you have taken several attempts on it, you stop realizing this, that at the end of the day, it's just one question at a time, and that question has no emotions attached to it. It's just us who is actually putting that pressure on ourselves, and that self-realization, that relief, that free mindset is very critical for you to do well on not just GMAT, any other test in the life. So. I'm really happy that it worked. I do that to all my students. I make sure that I'm there to help them on the last minute. In fact, Ria, as we speak, is about to complete her tuck interview. So she messaged me at so her tuck interview was about to start around 8:39 p.m. and she texted me, Piyush, I'm feeling really nervous about one of the answers. I'm not sure if I'm getting it this right. So again, I still I jumped onto the call, helped her understand a few things, and just told her that before GMAT also, like just like you, 2 days before the GMAT, she was also getting the jitters that uh, I'm not sure what will happen this time around. Her highest score was 615 only in the previous attempt, so she was having the jitters. I just told her that just remember, you slammed the GMAT, you got a 715 just by believing in yourself. So just be that same person in the interview, and everything will go well for you. So yeah, it's just it's my job to kind of guide the student, but it's important to believe in that, believe in yourself more importantly than that, and do your best on the test basically. So if you just take one question at a time, that's all it takes. And but please remember, one disclaimer I will definitely add: whatever strategies that we have talked about, like Ankita and I believe, two things you have to keep in mind. You should still complete the test. It's not like you can leave the questions unattempted. Those are penalized more heavily than leaving the getting the questions wrong. So even if you are not able to get them right completely, it is okay. And by no means we mean to say that if you devote more time to a question, you will get them right just because of devoting more time. You need to be prepared. You need to prepare your mindset. You need to prepare your approach. You need to prepare your methods in order to achieve that goal. So Ankita did that hard work, which she talked very little about, in the sense that she talked about the strategies and everything, but she literally went to the grind, applied those things, solved questions using those strategies. So you have to do the hard work also, and then only these strategies are going to help you get the outcome. So just because you just look at the first 15 questions is not going to get you those questions right. That's something you have to also keep in mind. So any closing tips, like Ankita, three key tips for students who want to score well on GMAT from your entire journey, just three things.
So first is the believe in yourself, because I really had a self doubt thing, and I was really anxious. And develop a test taking strategy, develop your mindset to approach the exam. And second is to have a structured approach of questions so that not to get anxious in the real time test. And third will be the same. I mean, treat is just like a test. It is just a test, one question at a time. One question at a time is very, very important thing.
Oh, that's the most important thing. And again, like we have gone through this so many times over that the last,
Yes.
like I was not worried in your case about, okay, does she know things? No. Does she know the process? No, that's not a problem at all. The only thing was like, okay, execution. Let's just get this right. So great tips, Ankita. So very glad to kind of hear your entire story. Obviously, I was not associated very closely during your verbal. It was more of ma'am that she was involved.
Yeah.
So for me also, like going through the entire like journey of your verbal was a new thing. So really happy to hear that the strategies that we recommend are working and worked out for you also. So all the very best. Yeah, I know there's a decent wait like for the round two results that is
Yes,
basically
round
happening
two
right
interview.
now. But yeah, let's keep our fingers crossed. We have done our best, and let's hope everything pans out well. And we might as well interview you again for another success story and converting some of the M7s and T15s of the world.
Yes.
So,
I hope so.
all
Fingers
the very best
crossed.
for that.
And I would like to also thank you and Sunita ma'am, because you two are the truly the best mentors one could ask for. And you two are really have played an instrumental role in my GMAT journey. So thank you to both of you.
The feeling is mutual, definitely, definitely. So thank you guys. We're ending the stream, but if you have any questions, I'm just gonna give you the contact details of us. Like if you want to reach out to us, GMATWhiz, you have our email ID, you have my WhatsApp number here on the screen. But I would like if you want to talk to me, like block a time on my calendar using this link. That's the best way to reach out to me. But thank you so much, everyone, for taking our time today, and I hope you got some great tips about how to improve your score and get to a dream score of 685. Thank you so much. Thank you.